afternoon, sir.
Please,
Afternoon,
please,
sir.
please
Thank
sit
you,
down.
sir.
Please sit down. What's your name?
Sir, Jatin Jain.
Mr. Jatin, this is your third attempt.
Yes, sir.
Have you gone to UPSC earlier?
No, sir, this is my first interview, so I'll
First
be...
interview.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay. So, please sit relaxed
Yes, sir.
and tell us something about yourself.
Sir, my name is Jatin Jain. I was born and brought up in Jabalpur, from where I completed my schooling, and then I completed my graduation in Information and Technology from IIT DAVV Indore. And since then, I've been actively pursuing for civil services, sir.
You come from Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
What are the challenges to your state?
Okay. So, Madhya Pradesh, the first thing I would recall the challenges would be the poor socio-economic indicators. The IMR and the MMR of the state is not performing well. The development of the state is, earlier it was not with the good pace, but recently with the initiatives of the government, it has been on the path of development. So,
But then that is not a challenge any longer then. Give me the
Yes, sir.
challenges.
the poverty is another challenge. So, the rate of poverty in Madhya Pradesh is 32%, with the national average being 23%. Unemployment is another challenge, sir.
But
And
the first one, let's talk of social indicators. Then why no action is being taken by the state government
sir, actions
or
are
on all the challenges for that matter?
so actions are being taken by the government. For socio-economic indicators, we have launched the schemes like Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, which has significantly
But
improved
it has
the
been so
performance.
many years. India became independent 70 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Still, you are at that place.
Sir, the social change takes time. It's a process because the main cause for these problems are the patriarchy, which is institutionalized in our society, and it takes time to overcome it.
Acha, tell me, cricket is your hobby, as
Yes,
I've
sir.
seen.
Yes, sir.
When was the first T20 played officially? When and where?
Sir,
RODI? No idea.
no idea, sir.
What is a unicorn?
So a unicorn is a startup company which has 100 unicorn, which has a capital of exact figure I'm unable to recall, sir.
What is poverty? Okay, you said there's poverty in Madhya Pradesh. What is poverty?
So the basic definition of poverty is the inability to have the basic resources for living a successful life, food, shelter.
Successful
etc.
life.
Yes, sir.
What is a successful life? Then tell me.
So successful life is you have the wisdom and the freedom to choose and have the equality of opportunity. If you desire something.
What has that to do with poverty?
So if
Poverty should be basically to have the basic necessities of life.
Yes, sir, basic
So,
necessities.
not successful life.
So basic necessities is also essential.
Has anyone defined poverty? If you want to know how many people are below poverty line, so what is the poverty line?
So there are different criteria for poverty line. Tendulkar committee gave a calorie-based poverty line, and Amartya Sen reformed the definition
What
of
is the calorie based? How much the Dillon committee said?
uh,
Calorie based?
24% India is below poverty according to the Tendulkar
But I
committee.
thought
sir.
the Dillon committee has talked of rupees per day, not the calories. Anyway, just check.
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me that this left-wing extremism we have been having in our country since 1967, many decades ago.
Yes, sir.
Why we haven't been able to finish it? Is it incompetence of India or the governments?
So left-wing extremism is present still, but the menace is reduced. The red corridor area is
My question is why we haven't finished it. I know it is reduced, but that is not
Yes,
the
sir.
question.
yes, sir.
Why have we failed to finish it?
So it's in the process. We are in the process of reducing.
You're
it,
saying
sir.
the same thing, Jatin. Okay, give me an overview of the energy sector of India.
So 55% of our energy comes from the fossil fuels, coal energy, and 35% comes from the non-fossil fuel, the renewable sector, and the remaining percentage from other
What's
critical
our
fields.
production and what is the target?
So target is 500 gigawatts from renewable sector, sir. Mega gigawatts, sir.
But we are not talking only of the renewable sector, we are talking of
Yes, sir.
energy needs otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you wish to say in the overview of the energy sector, please?
So we are in the phase of moving towards a green energy, renewable sources. We have multiple plans for hydrogen-based economy, methanol-based economy.
Okay. Very nice. Now, tell me kindly, you would have read the newspaper today. What are the three main headlines today?
So the first headline which I read are Honorable Prime Minister lost her mother. And
Our mother. Okay.
Lost his mother.
Mhm.
And Indian cricketer Rishabh Pant met with an severe accident while returning back home to Delhi.
These were the ones. Thank you.
Mr. Jatin Jain,
Yes, sir.
you're fond of cricket?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the principles of swing, bowling, out swing and in swing.
Yes, sir.
How would you bowl an in swinger?
So in swinger is bowled by keeping the shiny side of the ball towards the batsman in inner side.
What about the seam position?
So it should be straight seam. Should be the
Straight seam and then it will swing.
Yes, sir. With the shiny side, the air movement, air pressure will make it in swing, sir.
Okay, you're telling me principles of physics.
Yes, sir.
If the seam is pointed towards the slip, where would the ball move?
Towards outswing, sir. It will depend on the shiny side of the ball, sir. If it is outside, it will move to outside the
If
batsman.
it is a new ball, then the shine is on both sides.
Yes, sir.
Then
it will move out towards outswinger. It will be act as outswinger, sir,
good.
with the air movement.
Both your parents are in business.
Yes, sir.
What business?
Sir, we have a garment business.
You know, the government says the ease of business has improved.
Yes, sir.
Has it improved?
Certainly, it has improved, sir.
In which areas?
Certainly, in all the areas, ease of doing business is enhanced. India is performing very well.
In respect to your family business.
So in family business, supply chain management, the logistics and the ease of delivery with e-challan coming, GST coming, it has eased.
What more can be done?
So the main challenge in business which we feel is the logistic cost. We have high logistic costs and the turnaround time, the delay in transportation. If it is reduced, it will be a benefit for manufacturing sector and the textile sector.
Okay. You heard about the data protection bill?
Yes, sir.
What is the status of this bill?
So it is in a draft. It is a draft data protection bill. Previously, it was referred to a joint committee. Then a new bill has been placed in the parliament. It hasn't been passed right till now, sir.
What are the fundamentals in that bill?
The fundamental is to prevent the right to privacy of the individual. It has been classified into critical data and non-critical data, personal data, which should be protected by the companies and the organizations for preserving the
And
privacy.
what happens if they fail to protect? Are
Sir,
there penal provisions?
Yes, sir. Penal provisions
How
are
much?
also there. Exact detail I'm unaware.
What about consent?
Sorry, sir.
Anything about consent?
Yes, the consent of the individual is necessary for sharing the personal details.
But even today, the consent is there. Deemed consent. Does the bill go beyond deemed consent?
But it should have gone. The provisions must have been for more consent because there is a
But you're
better
not
provision.
aware.
I'm not unaware of it, sir.
Then there is also the Digital India Bill.
Digital India Mission. I don't know.
Digital India Bill,
Sorry, sir. I haven't
which
heard of it.
which would replace the IT Act of 2000. You are right.
I'm unaware of it, sir.
Unaware of this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Mr. Jain,
Yes, sir.
you were mentioning the important news item from today's papers, and you said the Prime Minister had lost his mother. Can you tell me who have been the Prime Minister of India since 1947?
So all the prime ministers?
Yes, why not? There aren't too many.
Yes, sir. The first prime minister was Jawaharlal Nehru. For 2 terms, he served the prime
Now,
minister.
tell me the names only.
Okay.
Followed by who was the next Prime Minister?
Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Sir, well, sequential order I am
Okay,
exactly.
just give me the names in sequential order.
Okay. So Lal Bahadur Shastri, and then Morarji Desai, then Srimati
You've eaten
Indira
up
Gandhi.
Mrs. Indira Gandhi's term after Lal Bahadur Shastri, she was Prime Minister.
In Srimati Indira Gandhi, yes, sir.
Then,
Morarji Desai, then Dev Gowda.
they were much later.
90s.
Much later. After Morarji Desai, who became Prime Minister? You're not sure.
Yes, sir.
Chaudhry Charan Singh.
Chaudhry Charan.
And we celebrate his birthday in India as what?
Farmers Day?
Are you asking me or telling me?
Sir, sorry, I'm unaware.
Alright, I think you should know.
Yes, sir.
Well, anyway, as regards India's external relations, which country do you think gives us the most serious problems?
Sir, I think our neighbor China. In both economical sense and in our security sense, we have facing challenges from our neighbor China.
Can you elaborate on that?
So in the economic front, China has been much ahead of us in every sphere, and recently we have been facing security threats from China in the Galwan Valley sector in Ladakh area, and recently we have seen incident of Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh.
What about Pakistan? What sort of problems does it pose for us?
So mainly the challenges from Pakistan are the security threats. The terrorism is the main challenge.
Okay, can you tell me some of the main terrorist organizations in Pakistan which are operating against India?
So ISIS,
ISI
Jaish-e
is their
Mohammed,
government's intelligence wing, but non-state actors comprise.
Jaish-e Mohammed, and
Who heads the Jaish-e Mohammed?
sorry sir,
Who heads the Jaish-e Mohammed?
head.
You don't know.
know,
And any
sir.
other organization?
Jaish-e Mohammed, sir. LNT something.
You're not sure.
Not sure, sir.
Well, terrorism from Pakistan is a huge
Huge ter-
security
yes,
challenge.
sir.
You
Yes,
said
sir.
there are security challenges from.
Yes, sir.
And who's the army chief of Pakistan?
So recently, army chief has been changed, and the current one
You're not.
don't know, sir.
Do you think that there are prospects of cordial relations between India and Pakistan in the next 5 years?
So certainly we should have collaboration with India and Pakistan should have collaboration and peace talks for the betterment of Asia and for
I'm
economic.
asking you the prospects. How do you think? What do you think is the likelihood next 5 years good relations between India and Pakistan?
So yes, sir, I think it can have good relations. In this year, and only Pakistan is having a general elections. A new government will be formed, and India is also a full majority government. So strong political will.
You said this year end.
Yes, sir.
This year is today.
2023.
This year is today, my dear.
Ending today.
Sorry, sir. 2023 and Pakistan has
But Jatin, the civilian government in Pakistan does not call the shots. It is really the army which decides how policy towards India should be formulated. Would you agree with that or not? You mentioned the ISI. The ISI masterminds the policy towards India, and the ISI is not changing. The Pakistan army is there. How then do you see relations between India and Pakistan improving?
So military certainly has the interference in Pakistan's internal affairs, but the new government with a new political will, with the people of both the countries demanding peace, will certainly work towards the betterment of the relations. And the recent comments of the current Prime Minister of Pakistan towards the peace talks will be welcoming.
Alright, what do you understand by the CPEC?
China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, I believe, sir.
You believe? Well, you believe
CPEC.
correctly. Now, India did not join the
Yes, sir.
CPEC.
Yes, sir.
What do you think are the reasons for that?
So the main reason is the issue of sovereignty. The CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, passes through the POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir region. So it infringes our sovereignty. That's why India is opposing the CPEC corridor.
All right. Now, what can you tell me about the Quad? Whether it is in India's interest that the Quad be militarized?
Yes, sir. India certainly it will be beneficial for India to have an open and free Pacific Ocean, and with the rising influence of China with the string of pearls policy and influencing in the Indian Ocean region, the militarization of the Quad will strengthen India's power and India's position to.
But does India want the militarization of the Quad?
India directly doesn't want, sir, because militarization of Quad will lead to more aggressive China, which the direct bear of it will India have to bear and not the other
But
partners
you
of
said
the
just
Quad.
now that militarization will be in India's interest. Now you are
So
contradicting.
militarization would be in India's interest, but the having militarization India is not directly demanding, because aggressive China we have to deal
The
with.
present policy of India is not in favor of militarization of Quad. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you say militarization will be in India's interest.
Yes,
So
sir.
are you implying that the present policy of India is not in India's interest? According to what you said, this is what the conclusion is, isn't it? You said militarization is in India's interest. You say that the present policy is not in favor of militarization of Quad, which means the present policy is not in India's interest. What do you have to say?
Oh, sorry, sir. I beg your pardon, sir. It's my mistake, sir.
But what is it that you're trying to convey? What is your view?
So my view is direct militarization would affect China, but in larger interest to protect ourselves in the India Pacific region, the militarization should happen.
Militarization should have.
Yes, sir.
All right, my last question to you. What do you see are the prospects for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war in 2023, which is starting a few hours from now? Well, how do you see the prospects of the Russia-Ukraine war ending in the next year?
Yes, sir. So there are high prospects of the Russia-Ukraine war being ending. The Russia's President Putin has set for the diplomatic talks, peace talks to end the war, and the whole world is providing solutions or engaging in trying to engage Russia and Ukraine for diplomatic talks. And recently, India will be hosting a G20 presidency summit.
Now, how will the war end? There will have to be some concessions, some give and take.
Yes, sir.
What will Ukraine have to concede?
So Ukraine has given a 10-point peace deal for the ending of a war. So there should be a consensus between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine can concede certain territory which
Will
conflicting
Ukraine
region.
agree to Russian sovereignty over Crimea?
So Crimea is under Russia's sovereignty.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
At the moment it is,
Yes,
but
sir.
Ukraine doesn't accept it.
Yes, sir.
Ukraine and the European countries and America say that this is an occupation, it's illegal. Will Ukraine accept Russian sovereignty over Crimea?
So to end the war, to meet a middle path compromise, Ukraine may accept Crimea accept the ending of the war from the
And
Ukraine's
will
territory.
Ukraine accept that the eastern provinces of the country are separate from it?
No, sir. That I think Ukraine will not be accepting.
And will
that.
Russia agree that these eastern provinces should not be separate from Ukraine?
So that's the main bone of contention currently, which
So
the
how
war
will
is
it be
continuing.
solved? How will it be solved?
So both have to come to a negotiation to at least some point. Someone has to give it something.
All right, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Jatin,
Yes, sir.
you have been the academic head of Dishanjali
Yes, sir.
NGO. What work did you do with them?
So we teach the students of a government school, a slum areas where the government school was there. We went on the weekends and taught them, and we prepared them for the Navodaya entrance test.
All right. So tomorrow when you become the district magistrate of Jabalpur, how will you continue with this? Obviously you're very passionate about it.
Yes, sir.
How will you continue with that?
So I am still collaborated with the NGO in the donations and in monitoring the educational activities with the NGO has been performing.
But the distance would be very long. Suppose you are posted somewhere else, then how would you get the time? You will be a very busy man.
The time, I believe one has always has a time what he or she wants to do. Even if I am busy, I may take a time in the night after my official professional work.
Is there any government program which will encourage you to do something like this? Is there anything like that?
So social service is always one's personal interest and
Yes, are you aware of any social such service which young civil servant like you can indulge in?
sorry sir, I am unaware of it.
All right. So, tell me something about some of the key places associated with the life of Lord Mahavir.
Okay. So the Lord Mahavira was born in Kundalpur in Bihar district, Bihar area, and then he attained nirvana and in the Pavapuri district, so from where he gained moksha.
Okay, so now some other places.
So Keval Gyan he gained under Niranjana river. It is also in Bihar area, sir.
Acha. So, have you been to any of these places?
No, sir.
No. All right. So, you tell me, can religion be associated with money making?
So anything can be associated to money making. Money making means commercialization of a subject, of an object, and the present status.
So, give me some example from the subject we have taken, sociology.
Yes, sir. So the religious trusts which are formed in the organization of the religious places, and the malpractices, the emerging rise of sects and cults.
No. You tell me from sociology subject. Have you heard of this Max Weber's theory of Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism by Max Weber, it suggests that the religion protesting ethics has some values which are essential for its rise.
So, what
of
are those
capitalism.
ethics? You tell me sharply, to the point.
So accumulation of wealth creation, profit, this worldly asceticism, and believing in our own glory, कि we are the chosen one by the God, we have to do things, work for the welfare of the society. So these are the ethics which must have
Anything
been
else?
about.
No. Okay, suppose I were to say that this ethics applies to the Jain in India.
Yes, sir.
How right or how wrong would I be?
So Jains in India are from historically they are a merchant community and they follows the ethics which the Marx Weber mentioned. That's why we are the business community which we are practicing.
But
the
they believe in
capitalism.
sacrifice, they give up everything. Jains,
Yes, sir.
they accumulate wealth and they give it up. Protestants' ethics never gives up the wealth. How can it be applied?
Partially it can be applied.
Partially it can be applied. All right. So, last question I will ask you. You know, recently some judgment by the Myanmar's court has come. Are you aware of it?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So Myanmar's ex-president Aung San Suu Kyi has been termed, jail term has been.
Was she the
extended.
president?
Prime
Some-
Minister, I think.
No, she was the state councillor.
She was the
Okay.
government head of Myanmar.
Okay, continue.
A jail term has been extended to her in one of the cases. In the 33-year term, she has to.
So, do you think it's right for India to keep quiet, not say anything? After all, we are a neighbor democracy. We should be doing something. She has been very close to India, studied in India, grew up in India. Why are we so quiet?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jatin.
Thank you, sir.
Our discussion with you is over.
Yes, sir.
Kindly wait outside for a few minutes. We'll call you for a feedback.
Thank you, sir.